The jungle breathed under the heavy glow of the full moon, ancient, restless, alive. Every leaf shimmered in silver light, and every creature knew this was not a night for the weak. Through the shadows moved Nyra, a werewolf, powerful, feared, and alone. Her paws pressed softly against the damp earth as she wandered deeper than she ever should. Her pack slept miles away, but something in her spirit refused to rest. The moon always did this to her. It didn't just awaken the beast, it awakened questions. Questions about why their kind hated so deeply, why blood had to answer everything. Then she stopped. Her ears twitched, her nose lifted slightly, catching a scent that did not belong. She perceived blood, but not ordinary blood. Cold, ancient, forbidden. Nyra followed it slowly, every step cautious now. The deeper she went, the darker the jungle became, until she saw him, a man, not just any man, a vampire. He lay against a broken tree, his body torn, his breathing shallow, his skin pale as death. Lucien, one of the sworn enemies of her kind. Nyra's instincts roared inside her. Kill him. End it now. Protect your people. She stepped closer, her claws extended. Her breath grew heavier. But then, he opened his eyes. Weak, fading, not full of hatred, but pain. And in that single moment, Nyra hesitated. And that hesitation changed everything. Nyra should have left him there, or better yet, finished what nature had already started. But instead, she did the unthinkable. With a low growl and a reluctant heart, she lifted Lucien onto her back and carried him through the dense jungle, far beyond the borders of her territory. Every step felt like betrayal. If her pack saw this, she would be cast out, or worse. She found an old cave hidden behind tangled vines, one only she knew. Dark, quiet, safe. There, she laid him down. Lucien didn't move much. His body was cold, weaker than anything she had ever seen. She transformed into her human form, feeding him from the blood in her body to keep him alive. Each time he stirred, she stayed just out of reach, watching, guarding, questioning herself. Then one night, he spoke. Why am I alive? His voice was barely a whisper. Nyra stepped into the faint moonlight. You should not be, she replied coldly. Lucien tried to sit up, but failed. You saved me, he said, confused. Nyra looked away. I don't know why. Silence filled the cave. Two enemies, alone, bound by something neither of them understood. And as the night stretched on, the line between hunter and enemy began to blur. Days turned into nights, and nights turned into something neither of them expected. Conversation. At first, it was cautious. Sharp words, distrustful eyes. Nyra never let her guard down. Lucien never forgot who she was. But time has a strange way of softening even the deepest hatred. He told her about the vampire clans, how they lived in shadows, feared the sun, and trusted almost no one. She told him about the pack, about loyalty, strength, and the bond of blood that held them together. They argued, they questioned, they listened, and slowly, something changed. Lucien began to see beyond the beast. Nyra began to see beyond the monster. One night, as rain fell softly outside the cave, Lucien looked at her and asked, Do you hate me? Nyra didn't answer immediately, because the truth was no longer simple. I should, she finally said. Lucien nodded. But you don't. Nyra met his gaze, and for the first time, there was no anger there, only something unfamiliar, something dangerous. Something neither of them had ever been taught to feel. For each other, trust. The full moon returned, but this time, Nyra didn't feel restless. She felt drawn back to the cave. To him, Lucien was stronger now, standing, moving, watching her in a way that made the silence between them feel different. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was waiting for her. That night, they didn't speak much. They didn't need to. The air between them was heavy with everything left unsaid. Nyra stepped closer. Lucien didn't move away. Two worlds stood inches apart. Two enemies, defying everything they had ever known. You should go, Nyra whispered. Lucien shook his head. And leave the only reason I'm still alive? Her heart skipped. A feeling she couldn't explain tightened in her chest. And then, she stopped fighting it. Their distance disappeared, their connection undeniable. What happened between them that night was not just desire. It was something deeper, something forbidden, something that tied their souls together in a way neither war nor blood could undo. And from that moment on, there was no going back. The nights became theirs, hidden, silent, dangerous. Nyra would leave her pack under the excuse of hunting, only to return to the cave. To him, Lucien. They laughed, they shared stories, they existed in a world where nothing else mattered. But reality does not stay hidden forever. Nyra began to feel it first. A shift in her body, her strength changed, her senses sharpened, yet softened. Something was growing inside her, and deep down, she knew this was no ordinary life. One night, she stood outside the cave, staring at the moon. Lucien approached her. "You're different," he said. Nyra turned slowly. "I'm carrying something," she whispered. Lucien's eyes widened. "A child?" Nyra nodded. Silence fell between them. Not fear, not regret, but the weight of what this meant. A child born of a werewolf and a vampire. A union that should not exist. If either side found out, it wouldn't just be war, it would be annihilation. And yet, as Lucien reached for her hand, neither of them let go. The night was thick with silence. Lucien moved through the forest alone, faster than the wind, quieter than death itself. Hunger clawed at him sharper than it had been in days. He tried to resist. He tried to remember Nyra, her voice, her touch, but instinct was louder. A figure darted through the trees, fast, powerful, a werewolf. Lucien struck without thinking. The attack was swift, brutal, final. The body fell, and then, the scent hit him. Familiar, too familiar. His breath caught. His hands trembled as he looked down. Not just a werewolf. One of Nyra's pack. "No," he whispered, but it was already done. The forest felt colder. He stepped back slowly, as if distance could undo the truth. But deep inside, he knew this wasn't just a mistake. This was a spark, and it would burn everything. The body was found at dawn. The werewolves gathered in silence, their grief quickly turning into rage. Claws tore into the earth. Howls echoed across the jungle. "This is vampire work," the alpha growled. No one questioned it. On the other side, the vampire clan sensed the rising storm. "They are preparing for war," one elder warned. Lucien stood among them, silent, haunted. He knew the truth, but truth now was a weapon, and if spoken, it would destroy Nyra. Meanwhile, Nyra felt it too. The tension, the shift, the coming storm. When she learned one of her own had been killed, something inside her cracked. She didn't know it was Lucien, but she felt the world closing in. The love she had found in secret was now standing at the edge of destruction. War drums echoed through both worlds. Old hatred awakened, and this time, it would not end quietly. War would destroy everything. So the elders chose another path. An ancient law, a single battle, one warrior from each side. Victory would decide the fate of both clans. The werewolves gathered, strong, fierce, loyal. But only one name echoed louder than the rest. Nyra. She stepped forward slowly, chosen, honored, bound by duty. Across the divide, the vampires made their choice. Lucien, a warrior, a survivor, but inside, a man already breaking. Neither side knew the truth. Neither side knew. They were sending lovers to fight each other. That night, Nyra stood under the moon, her hand resting lightly on her stomach. Lucien stood alone in the shadows, his mind torn apart. They both knew what was coming, and for the first time, they feared not death, but each other. The jungle became a battlefield. Torches burned. Warriors gathered. The air was thick with tension. At the center stood the ring, sacred ground, where blood would decide fate. Nyra stepped forward first, strong, unshaken, dressed as a warrior princess, ready to break her opponent down. Then Lucien entered. The moment their eyes met, time stopped. Shock, pain, love, everything collided at once. The crowd roared, but they heard nothing. "You?" Nyra whispered. Lucien's voice broke. "I didn't know." The truth hung between them like a blade. This was no longer just war. This was betrayal. The chants grew louder. "Fight! End it. But neither moved. Because how do you destroy the one who became your world? Silence fell. The signal was given. The fight had begun. Nyra lunged first, but not to kill. Lucien dodged, but not to strike. They moved, but their hearts refused the battle. Blows that could end lives were pulled back. Claws that could tear flesh hesitated. And then, Nyra cried out. She dropped to one knee. Lucien rushed to her side. What's wrong? Her voice trembled. Our child. The crowd froze. Whispers spread like wildfire. A child? Impossible. Lucien stood. Slowly, deliberately, he turned to both sides. This war ends now. The elder stepped forward, furious. This is deception. No, Nyra said, rising with strength. This is truth. She looked at her pack. He looked at his clan. This child carries both bloodlines, Lucien declared. If we destroy each other, we destroy the future. The jungle fell silent. For the first time, hatred met something stronger. Possibility. A new beginning. Not built on war, but on what they had created together. The two stepped forward, not as enemies, but as one. And in that moment, the war didn't end with victory. It ended with change. A love that should not exist became the very thing that saved them all.